Hi, this is Justin Bransford. Welcome to Bass Lab, New Mexico. Today I'm sitting down with Susan Holmes, one of the most popular bass players in New Mexico, northern New Mexico, especially where she lives. We're here in Santa Fe, and thank you so much for your
Thanks
hospitality.
for having me. Oh, yeah. Happy to be here. Honored.
Oh, thank you.
Surprised.
Well, here we are, and she's got some cool instruments around. We're going to talk about her basses in a little while. But like we do in our interviews, we want to find out when you started, where your musical journey started. When did you start playing bass?
Well, try to keep this long story short. I grew up in Lawrence, Kansas, and it's a university town. And our public schools had an incredible music program, music educators. And I started out playing violin because my best friend played violin and we could get out of class twice a week. And anyway, I played violin pretty badly, even though we had a great teacher. And I stuck with it through high school. And then before my junior year, the senior bass section was all graduating. And so our orchestra director said, if anybody is interested, I need people in the section. So I took home a bass for the summer and I liked it. And so I played it junior and senior year in orchestra. And then
In high school orchestra?
In high school.
Wow.
But I was way back in the section because I can barely read.
But you had been playing
music.
Well, but you had been playing a four-string instrument, the violin,
Right.
and so switching to bass, it's different because you're dealing with fourths instead of fifths.
Right.
But you had some experience playing a string.
Right.
So you were in there and playing in the orchestra. That's wonderful.
And we were good. We were so good. We did really hard things, and we played in Washington, D.C. at the ellipse of the White House. And we played in the front hall of Kennedy Center. And that orchestra, that high school, Lawrence High, they won all state year after year after year after year. I mean, we played incredible stuff.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and
that's exciting.
Yeah, we had great program.
So it was your junior year in high school where you started playing bass.
Right. And we played Tchaikovsky's Fourth. We played Scheherazade. I mean, a lot of the kids that were the concert mistress, and they were sons and daughters of music faculty at KU. So the Shumways and the Posdros, and great players, great musicians.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so important to have music education just part of your life in any way.
And it was in the public schools.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when you came to New Mexico, since we're kind of focusing on New Mexico. I know you had a whole musical life before that.
Right.
But let's hear the story of how you came to New Mexico.
I was working at KU at the Spencer Museum of Art, doing publications design. And I had visited New Mexico many times, loved it, and always dreamed of living here since the first time I was ever here. Anyway, our office manager showed me a newsletter with an ad for Museum of New Mexico was looking for a graphic designer for their exhibitions team. And I thought, they might as well hire me. So I applied and I got the job. And I came out here in January of '94. And I just retired 3 months before the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah.
So January of '94.
Yeah.
And you work also as a graphic designer, a graphic artist, and you're a painter as well.
I am.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your painting.
Well, I switched. I tried to be a music major at KU for a semester. And because I have such a hard time reading music, and I thought, I got to do something that, so I switched to design, which is part of the fine arts school, and did that, but with my emphasis was in illustration. But I thought, I like to do my own thing. So after I graduated, I I audited some painting classes at KU. And I haven't painted for the last couple of years just because we've been so busy with our dog. But I dabbled in painting for a while and then put it down for about 20 years and then picked it up again about 2017. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So painting's back in your life now?
It is.
What kind of paints do you use?
Oil.
Oil paints.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I like the smell of turpentine.
But who might be calling your phone these days to play a gig?
Well, I've been playing with David Berkeley for the last couple of years. And I was delighted to get a call from him and coming out of the pandemic where music was just starting to open back up again, live music, and I hadn't been playing that much. But he's just wonderful in every way. I mean, he's so talented. His songs are beautiful. He sings great. He plays great. He treats his people great. And it's just been great. And I'm still playing with the Alpha Cats, which is my attempt at playing jazz. I'm not a jazz player, but I try. And
The Alpha Cats trio?
Well, we're 4-piece when we can afford it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we started out, with a drummer. Ryan Anthony was our drummer until he moved away. But John Bartlett most of the time. But Alpha Cats is Lewis Wynn on guitar, who's masterful, and George Langston, a good friend, and I played with him in different bands, country bands, and he made a bass.
Yeah, he made this bass.
He did.
Yeah, shout out to George Langston, luthier and musician.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's recovering from a bicycle injury. So the Alpha Cats won't be playing out live anytime soon.
Okay, well, we wish him fast healing on that.
Yeah.
That's a drag.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the Alpha Cats, David Berkeley, that's a cool list.
Yeah. And then I've been playing with Boris McCutcheon for the better part of 15 years, but his wife now works for the Foreign Service, so they've been in China for the last couple of years. He was back for part of the summer, and we played a few gigs.
So when he's around.
When he's around, and he is brilliantly talented guy. I mean, beautiful, resonant voice, beautiful poetic songs, killer acoustic guitar player, well, other instruments too. He plays mandolin, but mostly acoustic guitar. But he's really versatile. Beautiful songs that just, you think about them, years later, you think about his lyrics and
Yeah, he's a deep cat. Yeah. Boris McCutcheon. Yeah, he's a lot of props.
I hope they move back soon.
Yeah, and he's kind of an international guy.
I mean, I've been to Holland with him a number of times.
Really?
Yeah. And the first time, I think, was in 2006. And we were over there for 2.5 weeks that time. And he's a big deal over there. And then one time we went for a festival, and it was the Blue Highways Festival. And I sent you a video of that. But one of the headliners was Jesse Winchester. And I got to meet Jesse Winchester at that. And that was a highlight.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, getting to meet people that you admire and that you like out there doing music festivals. That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you play upright with Boris mostly, or is it a mix of electric?
It's a mix.
Okay.
And quite a bit of baritone guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The baritone is something I picked up. We were visiting Nashville. My husband and I were in Nashville. It was the weekend before 9/11. And I found that baritone used, and I bought it, and I had them ship it to me. But I play it so much more than I thought I would. And it's easy to wear out your welcome because it's so much fun to play. But it can be kind of dominating if you're not careful with it.
Yeah. And what a cool thing to have for the studio.
Yeah.
Right? A little baritone action for the studio is really cool. Kind of that middle ground between guitar and bass.
And it sounds incredible capoed.
Hmm.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That is so
yeah.
cool. So when you play a music festival and you're not able to fly with your bass and someone rents you a bass, let's say, does that happen to you a lot when you do music
Not
festivals?
a lot because I haven't been doing that many festivals for a while. But I played with Boris. He was a finalist with New Song, and I want to say it was in 2013. And so we went to New York, and I rented a bass from Gage.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you went straight to the source and got
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
You took care
then
of business for yourself.
yeah, and then we played. Oh, what is it? Folk Alliance when it was in Memphis. And Charlie Chadwick he was one of the vendors that year. And if you're familiar with a Chadwick folding bass, the
Yeah.
travel basses,
Yeah.
so he had a bunch of them there for people to use. And so I
Interesting.
got to use one of his basses, and it was set up just like my bass. You know, at the time I was using gut strings on my G and E or my G and D, and I had um, drawn a blank. The pickup that I used to use, Underwood,
Hmm.
on one side.
Oh, okay.
So it was set up just like my bass that I had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that
similar
was
pickup.
so
So
much fun to play. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat. Um, what kind of bass strings are you using now on your upright
My
bass?
upright, I use dominance because they're closer, I think, to what a gut string sounds like. And then I have a spiral core on the E.
Spyrocore on the low E.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the dominants are notorious for if you don't, and I don't put on my own strings. I have Hannah do it because I'm a chicken. Because the dominants I've read about this that they tend to break if you're not really careful about how you install them on the winders. So, but oddly enough, I was getting ready to play with Max Gomez last summer. We had a rehearsal the morning before the show, and my spiral cord broke.
Oh goodness.
My spiral cord, that big old fat E string, broke.
Oh
So
wow.
John Gagan, to the rescue, brought me his Chadwick bass to play for that gig.
Wow. He
Yeah,
not only brought you a string, he brought you a whole nother
he brought
bass.
me another bass, and then I had Hannah put on a new spiral cord.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Shout out to Hannah,
Oh
bass
man,
luthier.
she is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
she's
yeah.
the best.
She sets up your instrument for you?
Yeah, yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, well, we're going to get into that in a minute and talk about her basses.
Okay.
What are some exciting projects that are coming up for you that you're really looking forward to?
Well, this Saturday I'm playing with Joe Warner and Waldo, whose last name I can't pronounce, but I've heard him play once and he's great, and I'm really looking forward to playing with him, drummer. We're playing at the Range on Saturday. And then in a couple of weeks, I'm doing a Christmas couple of sets with Busy McCarroll
Busy McCarroll. Shout out to Busy.
at Joe West's psychedelic shack in Madrid, and then a private party that same night with Ben Wright and Josh Martin.
Cool.
And it's been a while since I played with both of them, but I love them.
It's kind of like the who's who of the Santa Fe
Yeah.
Santa
And
Fe
then at
hipsters.
the end of December, I'm going to be playing the Christmas shows with Max Gomez. Yeah.
Where are those going to be?
Santa Fe on the 26th. I don't know where.
Okay, we'll put a link. It's okay.
Yeah. And then Taos the next two nights.
Oh, Taos, cool.
And then probably at the Taos Center for the Arts. And then Sunday at Fuller Lodge in Los Alamos.
Oh, okay. A little regional tour.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Nashville handshake.
Okay, the Nashville handshake.
When somebody says, "You want my CD? Here's my CD."
Uh-huh, the Nashville handshake.
But I tell people, okay, it's only 6 songs. It's not a big commitment to listen to this. And it's really great if you still have a CD player in your car.
Mm-hmm.
So driving into town, pop it in. It's good for a road trip.
Nice.
And one of my favorite things is when people tell me that they liked it so much that they listen to it twice in a row. Mm-hmm. Some friends of mine from Kansas, they were visiting last spring, and I gave it to them. And my friend said her husband listened to it 3 times in a row on the way home, and she thought that he had memorized all the songs by the time they got home.
Oh, wow.
But this started happening. I was getting together with George Langston, who made my bass, and John Graboff, who's a fabulous musician, and Paul Piercy, who was living here for a while. And we were getting together about once a week in my living room, and my dream band was my dream band. We were working up fun instrumentals, and the rule was, okay, if we're going to do a cover, we have to change it up somehow, like maybe write a new part for it or change the feel. So we had a good list of songs. And this is pre-pandemic.
Oh,
and so we would get together, and usually Sunday afternoons, my husband would make guacamole, and we'd have a good time. And so we worked up these songs, and then we came up with some of our own. And then we had a couple of live gigs, and then the pandemic happened. And everybody kind of just drifted away. And anyway, a friend of mine said, "Do you want to make an album?" And I said, "Okay." And he said, I'll spot you for it. And I thought, and this is during the pandemic. And I said, I want to get these guys in and get down some of the originals that we had. And so we did. And that's what happened.
That's so cool.
And it won Best of the Year at the New Mexico Music Awards.
For album?
It did.
That's great.
It did. And I loved every minute of making this record. And my friend Shannon McNally is doing the only vocal on it, the last song. And I actually started out with that song because I wanted to demo it. I wanted to pitch it to the Mavericks because I thought this would be the perfect song for the Mavericks, for Raul Malo. And I'd actually written this song about 20 years ago for when I was in a cowgirl band. And it was in a really high key. And so I thought, I want to demo this for Raul Malo's voice. So I listened to a bunch of their songs, and I found the key that I thought would work for him. And I moved it down and recorded those tracks, and then was looking for a vocalist for it. And I thought, I don't know anybody around here that sings in that range that's a man. So I kind of put it on hold for a while, and then I wanted Busy McCarroll to sing it. But she was super careful about the pandemic and wasn't comfortable recording out of house. So my friend Shannon was in town that weekend she was going to perform at the Ghost Ranch at the first festival that they did. And she had a couple of days to kill. And I said, "Do you want to sing on my song?" And she said, "Sure." So she did. Went in and did the lead vocals one day, went in the next day and did the harmony vocals. It turned out nice.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So the band already had a cool vibe going on.
Yeah.
You guys were getting together on a regular basis, deciding to get together with your own time and energy.
Right.
That's like making a band, like the good old fashioned way, right?
Yeah,
You're not trying to sell anybody on something. You're just like, hey, you want to...
It was a dream.
Oh, that's really cool. Are you planning another CD? Or album? Whatever you're supposed to call it these days?
Well, a friend in Sandia Crest, Randy Clark, has offered to record the Alpha Cats. So a year or so ago, we started tracking at his studio, and then life gets in the way, and people have family emergencies and bicycle accidents. So that's in the works.
Okay.
But we have to get George healed up first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's a project to be looking out for. Yeah.
But it's really, really hard to record upright bass.
Yeah.
Really hard.
It is hard to record upright bass. In all the recordings that you've done, when you've been happy with the upright bass tone, what did the engineer do? Do you remember like when you're happy with your bass, how did it get recorded? Do you remember?
I haven't done that much recording with upright. I've done quite a bit with electric over the years. But when I first got that bass, we were tracking at Frogville, and Bill Palmer was there. And we went in that day, and it was with Boris. I can't remember which album it was, but he used a Lucas condenser mic, and I can't remember how he placed it, but it sounded so beautiful, and I almost cried. And it was just what I wanted. And then over the life of the recording and different engineering and mixing and sending it to this guy to master, and then this, it just got lost in the sauce, and lost all that beautiful tone. And I hate to complain about it, but that's how those things tend to go.
Yeah.
Of course, I only play upright on one song on here. And we tracked it John Gagans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, of course, he knew exactly what to do. But, I couldn't tell you what mics he used.
Yeah.
I have a picture of how it was, positioned.
Yeah. Was it that bass?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. How long has that bass been in your life?
I ordered it from Will DeSola, made it, and it's a new standard, Cleveland model. And I ordered that. I think I got it in 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
So it's been with you for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I'm told Hannah says it's got a crooked neck, but I don't care.
Crooked neck.
Yeah. And the heel of the neck is quite massive. And I think that has to do with the fact that when they first started making that model, is that the upper bouts were more like this, so they came up higher on that heel. And now they've tapered them down a little bit. You can see.
Yeah. So before we take a look at your bass, let's we want to acknowledge your dog and tell us about your dog.
She is a handful.
And
she's a 4-year-old Australian cattle dog, blue heeler, with a tail. They're supposed to have a tail, and she does, and she has a wonderful tail, and she keeps me occupied.
Yeah,
she's our 8th heeler.
Yeah. And you and your husband, who we should totally give a shout out to,
James Holmes,
and an artist as well.
Yes, yeah, he's a sculptor and a trim carpenter. He built that CD case that you're looking at.
Beautiful.
He built our cabinets in our house.
Wow.
He's currently working up at Las Acequias Farms in Nambe. It's historic, on the National Historic Register, but doing restoration carpentry. Wow. Yeah, he specializes in that. And that's a shop that you saw when you first pulled
I didn't know if that was a shop or a music studio. I wasn't sure.
You'll have to see it on your way out when we're done. But he is so supportive of what I do, and I just don't know how I could do any of this without him, because he gets it.
Yeah. Nice.
And he gets together with his friends Frank and sometimes Pat Kikut, they get together every Friday afternoon and play guitar and sing and all their favorite songs, and I stay out of it.
Yeah.
I don't interfere.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool that both you and him have a tradition of getting together and playing music just for the enjoyment
Yeah.
of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
big
important.
time. And he has a wonderful Martin, I think it's a D18 Koa. Is it Koa?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Sounds great. Really great.
Can we take a moment and just check
Sure.
out this bass from George Langston?
Absolutely.
And just tell us a little. It's so beautiful. Is this a maple fingerboard?
It is. It's torrefied, meaning baked at a high temperature.
Oh.
The body is swamp ash.
Swamp ash.
No, it's alder. George made 2 of these, and he let me pick the one I wanted.
Really?
He finished the swamp ash one first, and then made this one, and it was hard to decide. But I went ahead with this one, and it has the historic hardware, the pickup covers, but I took them off. And maple neck, truss rod. But after my mom passed and her house finally sold and the estate settled, this was my splurge. So I had George build me this bass. I've been wanting one of these for the longest time.
It's beautiful.
And I just love it, love it, love it. And I play it a lot.
It's beautiful. What kind of strings do you have on it?
These are Kurt Mangan. Kurt Mangan is in Cortez, Colorado. And flat wounds.
Flat wounds, yeah.
Flats. I love my flats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really cool bass.
And that's what I played on this.
Oh, you played that on this. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. On your record.
I did.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going to take a moment and have a look at Susan's upright bass. And so here we go.
Bring it over here.
Okay, so this is your main, currently your only upright bass, your main upright bass.
Yes.
I love your bumpers. Those are
Bumpers
great.
are necessary.
I got to get me some of those.
Yeah, but it's still kind of chewed up. It's a Will DeSola made it. He's a fine luthier in Connecticut. But he and Arnold Schnitzer, I think that's how you say it, they were making their version of the American Standard, and they called it New Standard.
Okay.
And this is the Cleveland model, and they call it Cleveland because the American Standards were made in the 40s, 50s, 60s. They were band instruments.
They were band instruments.
And based in Cleveland. And so this is the Cleveland model.
So it's kind of a shout out to that company.
Yes.
And those type of basses.
The old H.N. White. And so they didn't do just basses. They did band instruments, Conn, and I think not Selmer. But if you look them up, and I sent you a link to that. But they did the King Mortone bass, which is kind of like a K. But anyway, I had been reading about them, and I finally bit the bullet, and I ordered with carved top, laminate ribs, and back, cottonwood, or poplar. So it's really lightweight.
Yeah.
I mean, people always say, "Can I help you with that?"
Right.
No.
They think they're heavy. People assume that they're really heavy.
I don't want people to touch my bass.
Yeah.
You can.
Right.
Anyway, it's kind of beat up and dirty.
You've got the Fishman full circle on there?
I do.
That's great.
I really love it. And I had been using the Underwood, but I only use it on this side. Because the Underwood has the 2 transducers.
Okay.
But I usually just use it on that side.
And what's this?
I don't know.
Just
I think I had that to keep the Underwood in place.
Oh, okay. To keep the Underwood in place.
And I still have the Underwood in my toolbox just in case I need it.
What do you like about the different pickups? Just do you like to blend them or just?
No, I used to use the Underwood when I was playing in a louder environment, in a bar gig with a loud drummer, and sometimes it would just cut through the mix better.
Okay.
But then I went to the full circle, and I don't use the Underwood these days. But this sounds pretty natural through my rig.
Yeah. And tell us about your signal chain, like when you're playing on a stage. Let's say you're playing a music festival stage, and you're playing with, let's say, Boris or somebody, and you have your upright. What's that signal chain look like? So you
Um,
come out of the. Do you usually use a mic on stage too, or you usually just use the
no,
pickup?
I just use my amp pretty much as a monitor.
Mm-hmm.
But I use it, they don't make them anymore, but a Raven Labs, what's the model number? It's an MB something. Um, don't think I have one in here, but it's a DI blender box. And so I use that DI as my out usually. And I switch a lot of instruments between what I play electric and upright and baritone. So I can select which instrument, and it's the same feed to the front of the house.
Oh, okay.
And I
That's
also
handy.
I got the PZDI, so I've used that a couple of times when we're
Oh, the
playing.
radial PZ.
The radial PZ, yeah, and I
Okay.
love that, but only in certain circumstances. You know, on a
Okay.
big stage, I'll probably use that when I'm playing with Max.
Okay. Okay. So you'll
Yeah.
go from your pickup to a DI, and then you'll take a line to your amp, your stage amp,
Right,
and just kind of dial that
Right.
in.
right.
Yeah.
This is the Jerry Jones version of a Dan Holt Electro or a Silvertone. Jerry Jones was in Nashville and was making his versions of these instruments, and they have great electronics, great adjustable truss rods, and I love this thing. It's a
Jerry
little-
Jones.
Jerry Jones.
Wow.
But he's retired from making these.
Wow. What a beautiful instrument. Thank you for
And
showing us.
I used to be able to find them all the time, and now you can't.
So this is another Jerry Jones?
Yes,
Okay, so you have two instruments from.
yes.
Okay, cool.
And so
This is the baritone.
it's tuned A to A. So it's guitar tuning. The intervals are the same as guitar, but A to A instead of E to E.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah.
Every
cool.
woman should have one of these. This is K semi-hollow body, or I guess it's hollow body, but it really sounds, it can sound like an upright. It's incredibly versatile, more than you'd think.
Wow.
And it really thumps. But I play this quite a bit with David Berkeley because of his instrumentation. He plays acoustic guitar, beautiful old Gibson, and then he plays nylon string quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
And this just sounds right with it. But
Wow, what a cool bass.
it's so much fun to play.
Oh, thanks for showing us
and
that,
it's
Kay.
medium scale.
Look at that.
And again, flat wounds.
Flat ones.
I like my flats.
Me too.
And that was made by Roger Fritz, who did the reissues of old K electrics. He did guitars and basses.
Oh, Lakeland. I've seen you play this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. Wow. Custom thumb.
Yeah, George made that for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I tend to get kind of heavy duty with my right hand. And I find myself playing, and sometimes it'll hit the pull pieces and make a terrible sound. So I have to be careful.
Once again, we find flat wound strings.
Yes.
All the most working bass players probably have flat wound strings on their bass. This is wonderful.
Flats.
What a great bass.
And you can do, I've always had the top loader, but if you want, you can put them through the body.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nice.
But I've never experimented with that.
What a beautiful bass. That's great.
I
That
love
can
it.
do anything.
Yes.
Well, Susan, thank you for
Thank you. Thanks for
your
having
hospitality
me.
and letting us
Yeah.
come over and scout. Thank you for letting us come over and
Being good.
look at the basses and hear about all the
Geek
awesome
out.
gigs that you're doing. So
I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. I mean, this is such an incredible music community. I mean, great players live here. Great players and generous people, and I love it that you can play a bar gig and people really love to hear original music. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
New Mexico music
yeah,
listeners and supporters and people that go out, and
yeah.
thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
everybody.
you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's cool. I like those strings a lot. They sound huge.
Dominance.
Thank you.